or why we don't set any limits. And after that, I talk a bit more about, or let's talk a bit more about why we violate our own standards. And so your own integrity means that you are actually, you are creating a safe space, not only for yourself with the limits you're setting up, but also for others. It's like, imagine that somebody, is interacting with you, knows you a bit. And of course, what we do is we try to predict other people's behavior. Yeah. Would she lie to me? Would she help me in case of I need some help? Or would she just let me down? Things like this. So by setting our own limits of saying, no, I won't do that. Whatever it is, your personal limits could vary. It varies from person to person a bit. Yeah. But if you are getting involved in a relationship with somebody else, you'd like to know what you can expect from that person. So if somebody's not stable in life, that means he or she is changing her or his viewpoints all the time. Like a little example would be, no, I would never borrow something and not giving it back to that person. But then another person comes and is talking that person into, just do it. Yeah. He won't notice. So just do it. Some people are doing that. They try to convince us to violate our own limits, our own standards. Yeah. And they may have good arguments. Yeah. The way they explain it, why it's okay, they might sound quite rational. So in that moment, what happens? Why do we violate our standards? It's actually because we have specific or special intentions in that moment. So if you are a person who likes helping others, I'd love that. It's very social. Yeah, it makes us human beings. So it's a very nice thing. I hear that so often, like, yeah, I have a type of issue with that. I'm always helping people. Of course, there are some people who don't deserve to be helped. Yeah, if they are toxic, trying to push you down all the time, using you, manipulate you, all these things, and they are always asking you for help and support, you should think about it. Yeah. But normally it's very nice to help other people. So, but sometimes we just don't want to say no. We feel bad when somebody's asking us to do something to help us. Yeah. And you say, oh no, it's not really, it's a bit inconvenient for me. I don't want to do it. You're thinking about it. But then you think, oh, I don't want to piss off that person. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to say no, because then I will have a little argument about it. They might be disappointed. We want to be liked by others. So all these could be reasons why we don't set limits in relationships. And once we start doing that, once we just don't say, no, I don't want that, I wouldn't do that, yeah, no matter what the other person will think about it, then we start to violate our own standards, of course. And what does that cause? It will cause that you will lose some of your dignity. Oh, thank you very much. Somebody has sent me something. I'm so sorry. We are so new to TikTok and I have different screens here. So there was just popping in a little message that somebody has sent something. I haven't even seen what it was, but thank you very much. I have to get a bit deeper into it to figure out, yeah, what happens during the show. So, and if you violate your own standards and rules, how can others trust you? I think that's impossible. Imagine you have a friend. One day he says, no, I will never do that. The next day he's doing it. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's confusing. We don't know what to expect from that person. And this is how we become for others. So it's very, very important to have our own standards. And actually, to maintain your own limits is your own right. You don't have to ask for anybody's permission to do that. Of course, it's not easy. That's another point. Yeah. If you have troubles with setting limits in relationships, then just let me know what exactly it is or what you already did and what you later regret. Because then we can talk about it. Yeah. I'd like to talk about things with you. So actual things, so put it into the chat. That would be good. But actually it's your right to have your own standards. It's your own right to say no. It's also your own right to be happy. And how can you be happy when you violate your own values, when you lose your dignity, when you can't be honest with others? Yeah, so this is like, I call it PR show. It's like a public relation. We pretend we are something to make others, to cause a specific point of view in them towards us. But it's actually, if you are honest, I understand. It takes something. It's not easy. There are many, many reasons why we are violating our own standards. And if you just want to please somebody, if you just want to make somebody happy, yeah, there could be very nice intentions why you're doing it. But don't forget, whenever you violate your own standards and you do something that normally you wouldn't do, you will also have to deal with the consequences of your actions. That's for sure. Whatever you do, the person who has to deal with the consequences is you. And even if you don't want to take any responsibility for it, it will be there in your life, having an influence on you, yeah, on yourself. So this is something I'd really like to make very clear, that setting your own standards, it's not just nice. Oh, David, thanks for sending me a message. I'd usually have a lot of, yeah, Germans in the chat so that I can talk to them directly. So, oh, wow. So David here is talking about his girlfriend has passed many of his boundaries. He was chasing him and stalking him. So he got back together with her in the end. Oh, okay. I totally got it. It's, yeah, you already got into the situation where you allowed that person to cross all borders, yeah, all limits. And then to go back is much harder. Of course it is, because now the person has to, yeah, turn around together with you. So what we could do is we could talk about that after the live. Yeah, we could just message each other by WhatsApp, for example, if you like to. But we also have a solution for this. It's I'd like that you're so open and that you tell me the story. So it can be a bit more complex than it looks from the outside. So it would be good to get a bit more information about it, like what types of limits you have lost or violated for yourself, and how you feel in this relationship with her now. Do you want to stay together? All these things. So it would be cool to have a little conversation. If you want to, you can hold on. You can send me a direct message. If you send me your WhatsApp, I can contact you after the show, which will be like in half an hour, 20 minutes. So, and then we can talk one by one about it, one by one, sorry. Okay. So, actually, it is so hard to establish and to maintain your own limits in a relationship because of a lack of self-esteem. If you would be very, very certain of what is true for you, what's right for you, what's wrong, then you would actually fight for it. If you would be aware of how important your own values, limits, and standards are, you would really fight for yourself. Yeah, because you need to be a friend of yourself. You need to protect yourself from getting lost in a relationship. I totally understand this. The impulses we have, they are very strong sometimes. So the whole society is full of people who've given up. Yeah. So we see them everywhere. Like it's very easy to violate our own limits. And I've done it big time. So that's for sure. I've done it big time. But there's something, it's the same like demanding things for yourself. It could be also something that we forget to do. We try to give, we try to please, we try to help, but at the same time, we try to, like pushing our own demands a bit down just to please somebody. And that's also not good, actually. But what you should never, never, ever forget is you are the number one person of your life. You are, for yourself, you're the most important person. And I read something, I will show you some books a bit later, but I read something in one of these books that really had a big impact on me. And that's, hello, thank you. And that's really, you have to be the best friend of yourself. You have to be your own friend, a friend of yourself. You can't be a friend for others if you're not a friend for yourself first. That's so fundamental. If you are violating your own standards, and if you forget your own limits, then this also have an effect of others. Don't underestimate that. It has an effect on yourself, because the first thing you lose is a little bit of your self-esteem. Every time you're violating your own standards, you lose a bit of your self-esteem. You think, oh, life goes on. Tomorrow I will have forgotten it. Yeah. So I just move on. Others don't know. Things like that. Yeah, it's a very tricky thing. So, but actually, yeah, whenever you violated your own standards or your own values or your honesty with yourself, with others, doesn't matter, yeah. And if you can't trust yourself anymore, before I've spoken about how important it is that we are trustworthy for others, but we also need to be sure that we can trust ourselves. If you say no, it's a no. If you say yes, I will do it, you need to do it. Yeah. This is like you have a contract with yourself, and you need to fulfill that contract. It's very important. Yeah. And if you don't respect your own values, what do you think will others do with your own values? You need to be the first person who's protecting your own values. It's so, I can't say how important it is, because I think that's the most important thing in life. You want to feel happy, you want to feel good with yourself. You want to be proud of yourself. This is how we can have self-esteem. But you also want to be sure that you can trust yourself. So it's all a big package, yeah? And if you start scratching on one end and you put something away, and then you take something else, yeah, another part of yourself, and put it into a drawer or something, and close it. So of course you will lose yourself bit by bit. Once you really have your own standards and values and limits set up, and you are very sure that they are right, that also means you need a lot of self-esteem to protect these rights you have. Yeah. You need that self-esteem to make others sure of it. Like when I was 20, I stopped drinking alcohol. So I just have very little alcohol, like once or twice in 10 years, not very often. So, but in the beginning, and this is a very good example, in the beginning, I wasn't quite sure about it. I felt a bit weird about saying no when somebody offered me a drink. I'd like, I'd like going to parties. So I'd like the company of others and having fun together and all these things. But I wanted to stop drinking alcohol. I thought sober's a new high. Um, but I still felt a bit insecure about it. So in the beginning, while I was still feeling insecure of saying no, I didn't want to be impolite, people actually, I had a lot of discussions about it. People started trying to talk me into having a drink. Yeah. And I said, no, I don't like to. And then we started talking about it, and I had to defend myself, explaining why I don't want to drink anything. And there you are. You have to explain and defend yourself. I tell you what happened later. Once I was very sure about it, that I don't want to have any alcohol anymore, nobody was talking about it with me any longer. It just stopped. Once you're very sure of what types of limits you're pushing through, people won't argue with you anymore. It's just like they know they will run against the wall. Yeah, that's something they cannot negotiate with you. Yeah, so you need to get to that point of stability to defend your own rights. That's very important. And I agree, it needs a lot of self-esteem and a lot of stability in life. So if you are a bit shaky, yeah, people will notice, and they will start discussing that with you. So some people, how do we get self-esteem then, if this is so important? Yeah, and some have it, some don't. It's so weird because not the smartest have a lot of self-esteem. Sometimes they're very smart, but they don't have any self-esteem. You can be very pretty as a woman and still don't have any self-esteem. It doesn't matter. That's all not relevant. But if we notice that we have a lack of self-esteem, of course we are trying to do something about it. So what do people usually try? Is they learn a lot. Yeah, they want to build up their career so that they can be proud of what they're doing. Nothing's wrong with that. Others, they are going to the gym, they just want to look fit, and nothing's really wrong with that either, of course. If you don't like doing this, you might go just shopping. Yeah, you buy something for yourself that makes you feel good. But once you stop doing those things, what do you think will happen? The little self-esteem that you were working on just vanishes from, yeah, it will just dissolve. It's just not there anymore. So that's not the best solution for building up your self-esteem. It should be not really relevant how you look like, how successful you are, or yeah, all these things, or what you possess shouldn't be relevant. In order to raise your self-esteem, it takes some kind of work with yourself. First of all, you need some knowledge. You need to know what reduces self-esteem, and how you can raise it again, how you can get to the next level. It sounds very difficult, but I tell you, it only sounds difficult because these are the bad news, we do not really understand how the mind is working. Nobody has ever told us how the mind is working. We have a lot of information about this and that and this and that and about relationships and about, yeah, but it's all quite confusing. Let's be honest. Yeah. So, but once you understand how the human mind is working, and once you understand what decreases your self-esteem, then you also have the knowledge how to raise it. And this is, as you could hear in that little seminar, this is the most important thing about setting your own limits in relationships and to maintain them. Yeah. And that's basically, you could say, okay, if I have troubles with something in life, with myself, with relationships, with others, with a lack of self-esteem, with emotional damage, with toxic people, like there are so many things we could have to deal with in life. Of course, there are always traces of some emotional abuse in the past that we went through. But to understand all this, and how to resolve it, you need some knowledge. That's something a person is telling you who had almost no self-esteem when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And now I really have a lot. And that's not because I've grown older. Yeah. Life is always like, it's hard to live. Yeah. We always lose things. We run into problems and difficulties. We have to deal with lots and lots of difficult things in life. So life isn't easy at all. But the more knowledge you have about yourself, about basic principles in life, we are all individuals, that's for sure. Yeah. You're not like me, I'm not like you. We may have something in common, but that's all. But the good news is the mind is working in the same way. There are different experiences. We are different individuals, but the mechanisms of the mind are really the same. Yeah. When somebody is facing a loss, he's getting pushed down emotionally, and this causes other things. So I could tell you a lot about the mind and all these things, but I prefer showing you the books I read. So this is our BestYou book package with all the knowledge you need. Of course, you can also have just 1 or 2 books of those, but if you really want to do something about the situation you're in, if you really want to build up your self-esteem or to improve your relationships, you need the whole package. There's really not just one single book you shouldn't read. It's about happiness. It's about work. And all these books give you applicable tools. It's not something you need to believe in. It's not just positive thinking. Usually, from my experience, that doesn't really work. But to have the know-how, the competence to handle life, to have more control about what is happening with yourself And, you know, you need to have all this knowledge to manage your relationships. You really need that. But here's a little warning. Yeah, that's the downside of it. You need to want to change something. You need to want to learn something about yourself and life. Of course, otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to have these books. Yeah, it's you who need to read it and it's you who need to apply it. But the good news is, I told you in the beginning, we have a center here. So we are delivering courses for decades. We have a big team here with very well-educated, trained and experienced people. So whenever somebody buys this package of books, which aren't that, they are not that expensive. If you want to have more information, just write info books into the chat and then I can contact you after the webinar. Whenever somebody buys the package, he will get a course, a free course, an extension course you can do from home. And one of our professionals will be in touch with you. So whatever it is that you want to get handled, what you want to improve, what you want to learn, what you want to change in your life, we can then show you what book to read first, and then you can, yeah, have the help of one of our professionals guiding you through the knowledge. We help you to understand what's written in that books. Whenever you have troubles or whenever you have questions, we help you. And yeah, that's it basically. So I hope you liked the Tonight Show. And as I said, that was our second English webinar. So give us some feedback. I'd like to know if you liked it or not. Yeah, David, if you want to talk with me, just drop me your phone number, your WhatsApp, and then I will contact you over WhatsApp. And yeah, I say thank you all for watching. And tomorrow we will have a German webinar, and that's about self-love, how to improve your self-love. And the English version will be next Monday at 6:30 then. So thank you very much. And just drop us a message saying info books in every chat, and then we will get in touch. Oh yeah, I can send you the email as well. I just dropped that. So our email is antworten.fuers. Oh, that's a bit difficult because it's German, isn't it? We should change it or establish an English one as well. It's antworten.fuers.leben@gmail.com. So here it is. Yeah, send me an email. I'd like to talk to you. And thank you very much for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening and hopefully see you tomorrow or next week. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, David. So you're the only one left here in the chat. So I can also give you my WhatsApp. I turned off the other devices. So, Quatsch. Hold on, 0152 33 88 2004. Is this right? 0152 33 80204. Sorry, that's a 0. So that's the one. Yeah, let's get in touch. Okay. I just need 5 minutes and then we can talk. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I shut this down. I hope you have my number. Okay. Yeah, just give me 5 minutes, please, because I'm using my phone for TikTok and